Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome back to Reality Realness with 3 S's. I'm your host, Chantele Francis, here with Mel B to talk about tensions rising on episode 9 of the Traitors Canada season 2. Mel B, what an episode that was.
Chantele, can we rate that as top episode? Like, I have to say, this season is already giving me one of my favorite Traitor seasons ever. And I'm pretty sure episode 9 is the best episode that we've gotten so far this season. A 20-minute roundtable. I've been asking for this. I want longer roundtables, and it delivered. I'm so ready to get into this. It was such a great episode.
I have to agree with you. And with the roundtable being so long, it allowed for the tension to rise because I'm like, oh my gosh, like there's more time. Like, how is this going to work out? Like, I don't want them to speak anymore because I don't want them to start incriminating each other anymore. Like, I was getting so stressed out for these two rock star women going at each other so civilly. It was just so, it was a delicious roundtable, and I thought it was an excellent episode, probably the best episode of the season. Definitely worth the wait, the faithfuls getting it wrong all this time to see this episode.
That was such a good builder all season too. Like every single roundtable that they were wrong, every single episode that they didn't catch a traitor just helped build the tension and build, like, as an audience, build our, oh my God, what's the word? Like, I don't know, like our appetite. Like we just wanted to see like this craziness take place, and to see two of them going at each other it was just beautiful.
Yeah, I think you're onto something here for the fact that we haven't been getting like the strategy appetite quench, the thirst quench for this, people strategically figuring out who the traitors are and getting them out. Like, we haven't really got that. And yes, they did get a traitor out last week, but it was only because the two traitors decided, like, okay, it's time for him to go. And so they were two of the votes. Then one of them's brother was one of the votes. And, it was just, if they did not want Michael John to go, he would not have been that vote. It would have been Lauren, or it would have been Cedric. And so, like, as much as like I'm enjoying the faithfuls being terribly wrong all the time, I agree with you. The fact that we haven't gotten our strategic appetite quenched is why, like, we are waiting for these two masterminds to go head to head. Like, we've been waiting. They have to go after each other.
I've been waiting for this since episode 1. Like when Neda clocked Kara, and do you remember, I think I said to you, episode 1, Kara was so excited and she said, nobody's on to me. And I went, oh my God, that is the worst thing you
to say to Neda.
Because she's going to keep that and be like, okay, so this girl is a really good traitor. So I've been wondering like when it was going to happen, because I always felt like for Neda to win or to get really far, she was going to need to throw Kara under the bus. And I thought it would be in her best interest to do that before Michael John got out, because he was the obvious traitor. I figure if she threw Kara under the bus first or planted those seeds, then when, get her out, then she could easily throw Michael John under there and then frame somebody else or whatever to make it to the end. But I'm okay with the way that this played out. Like this, I feel bad for Kara because I do think she had what it took. If she was on a different cast, maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Like without, Neda's, if she had different traitors even, I think she had what it took to make it right to the end.
Yeah, I definitely think that she has the capability of getting to the end and winning. I think personally that her, like, just like the flaws in her game was the fact that she ended up having to protect her brother, which, like, yes, he is a perfect person to be in your corner. He's an extra vote. And I had been saying that it's a little bit unfair almost that she had him there, but she had to protect him a little bit. And I think that maybe clouded her rationalizing and reasoning with Neda, because she's kind of digging her heels in here over someone that Neda thinks should be kind of inconsequential, whatever. So I think that was one little, flaw in her game. And then also, like you said, with her showing how great she is at this game, and then with Michael John being like wanting to go after him, it just would send, I think, alarm bells to anybody that was super strategic. That like even Michael John was saying like, "Oh, these ladies want to get me out and bring Gail in." Like,
You knew
so
immediately.
yeah, I think that those two, like, they're minor though. These are something like if she came back again and was a traitor again, I think she would clean those up for sure.
Absolutely.
And I don't think that somebody like somebody else would have clocked these things. But
Mm-mm.
yeah, like Emily here is saying, Neda is savage. She was
Neda,
just
like,
waiting.
she showed us why she's the queen. You know what I mean? Like that. Oh my God, it was delicious. I think I commented on Neda because Neda had, if you don't follow Neda on Instagram, first of all, just go do it.
Oh,
And
I
if
saw
you
her on
haven't,
Twitter. I wasn't on Instagram. Okay,
oh,
sorry.
on Instagram where she posted just one page of apparently like a 500 page plan that she had going into it. And I think I commented on it and was just like, this was the round table that Dan Giesling wanted. Like she used a little bit of the strategy that he was trying to use where she said, I like to sit back, I like to watch, I like to take things in, and I don't want to speak until I'm sure. You know, those were the same things that Dan said, but Neda knew what she was like. She fired on all cylinders, you know?
Well, and the difference is with Dan is that people were saying like you need to talk more, and
Mhm.
he just wouldn't. He'd be like,
And
and like
she spoke up a lot.
she did speak up. She did like have her theory. She did play to be a faithful. And yes, also Netta did have the relationships as well. Dan didn't seem to be, from my perspective
Poor
anyways,
Dan.
making any relationships with other people.
Yeah.
He just, nobody trusted him. Nobody thought he was faithful. They just thought he was quiet and weird. You know what I mean? Like they just
I
go
think
ahead.
he had like the reputation as like he went in there with the reputation as the best Big Brother player. Netta went in there with the reputation of I've played Big Brother, and it seemed to be. I mean, you know, we've if you haven't seen our interview, it's probably not out yet, is it? With Kara, I won't spoil it, but there's not very many people that knew that Netta was a Big Brother, like a good Big Brother player. Like I think it was only a couple of people who'd seen her season. So there's a difference there with Dan as well, is that people knew he was like a good Big Brother player. People just knew that Netta played Big Brother. So that might
I
have
mean,
been.
if I was on the cast, I probably would have. I would have clocked her. I think for sure. And even if didn't know if she was 100% a traitor, I would have latched onto her and just been her
100%.
bestie.
Yeah.
And
But
like,
would
just
that have
you
been
had to take her out.
strategic
Like,
or would it have been fangirl?
say again.
Would that have been strategic or
Yeah,
fangirl?
both.
Yeah, same.
Absolutely. I'd be like, sorry, I'm gonna fangirl. I want to hang out with you. Like, I'm
Let's be
never
best
voting you
friends.
out until the last round. Sorry.
Yeah.
And even if I thought she was a faithful, I'd have to vote her out. I just wouldn't trust that she didn't play a great game. And I would have been like,
You
I
got
love
it.
you, but like, I just don't know if you are actually faithful or not. So one more round. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't go to final two with Netta. You just, and I mean, Kara obviously knew that. She came for her. Like, but you know, I don't know. Netta's just, she plays on a different level.
Emily agrees that this is by far the best episode of the season. Yeah, it was so,
Mhm.
I was riveted.
Riveted.
It was riveting. I was riveted. And
Yeah.
I just loving all of it because just watching them both not to try to give away the fact that they were being caught. Like it just like they just were so good at responding. Yeah, I was impressed by both of them.
So where I think, and I mean, maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but like, let's go to the round table for a minute. Because where I think the tide turned a little bit for Kara, I mean, obviously they went in with the intention to vote Kara out. Like
When
that
she
was
flipped it back on Netta.
yeah, that was pre-planned.
Oh
But
no, I'm just saying, like, are you gonna
oh,
say when she flipped it back on Netta?
no, I think that the big thing with her, a little bit, but I think Kara's emotions got really heightened.
Mm-hmm.
And I was so in awe at Netta's responses at the table. She literally just would sit back and she was so calm and so quiet and so small. And we know she's not small, you know, but she was just, her answers were so collected. And she really seemed, she was like, I'm scared of you. Like so tiny, the little voice. And I was watching it just being like, this woman is showing us how to play the game. Like she's been playing Suri, but like better for Suri from Traitors. Like she's just, I don't know. I think it was her calmness that helped people trust her. Like she just went to everybody ahead of time, was like, I'm really afraid because this just doesn't seem right. Like she didn't have any evidence, but like people just trusted her gut instinct and her feeling. And I think that a lot of that had to do with the way that she presented herself and the way that she presented her theories. And she was very believable.
And I do think that it was a solid, like, I know that, she didn't have that many concrete things, but I do feel as though when she said that when Michael John looked like he was disappointed by Kira accusing him, as opposed to how I think it was when Nick and somebody else accused him.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like, and she's like, I just noticed that interaction, that it was just a little bit different with how he responded. It seemed like he was let down by somebody he was working with. And so, and like, I do think that when people just started being like, oh, wait, interesting.
Also, the fact that everybody that named Michael John wound up murdered except for Kira. That's another point that I don't know if she made. Maybe she made it behind the scenes, but if everybody says Michael John's name and they end up murdered, and then Michael John is out and he's a traitor, and she has been really loud for like 4 roundtables, but she's still in the game, there's something to that. You got to look into that,
Definitely.
Yeah.
Hi, Clinton. Clinton says, my favorite Traitors episode reviewing team. Hope you guys are doing well. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday to you too, Clinton. So I had seen a tweet, and so Neda's tweet was, I made about 500 pages of different plans and documents before I went into the game. So happy I was able to use my favorite strategy. And so she has like page 9, scenario 4, 3 or more people on the cast know my Big Brother game. And so then she has like, how she would handle that situation. Page 12, gauge modification for different cast types. So there's an observant cast or a chaotic cast, alpha cast, emotional cast, athletic cast, alliance-based. Then she's like, okay, scenario 3B, cast doesn't include other Big Brother players. 1 to 3 people know my game, my past game. Plus, and like, she has different calculations for the different versions of potential outcomes of how they chose the cast, which is wild. Game focus, avoid being seen as a threat. Prioritize forming relationships. Clothing, use outfits and hair to convey naivety. Pigtails, braids, lace, bows, and approachability. Stick to neutrals, beige, whites, and browns to blend in. Portray an unassuming demeanor. Avoid bright or intimidating colors. No red, orange, or yellow. Nothing that makes me stick out. Nothing overly structured or bold. Like,
that right there, honestly, I can't describe the level of admiration that I have for that planning and that strategy going into it. Give her the money now. Honest to God, put her on every reality TV show that there is.
I mean, just for having these notes, like, she should be winning.
Next level. Like, I was on this show, Chantele. I did this. I didn't do that. And maybe I should have. I probably would have made it a little bit further. But like the fact that I'm sat down just watching the episodes and listening to podcasts while I clean. Like that was my preparation. She's studying the shows and making Bibles of different scenarios and how she can win in every single scenario. Like she's a queen. She made it to, what was it, top 3 or top 2 or top 3
Final
of
3,
her first season of Big Brother. And
I mean, she was devastated. I was devastated when it was the best thing for his game. Absolutely.
She was going to win that season. If one thing changed right before that, she could have won that season 100%. If she had to be the final HOH, she was winning. Season 5, I mean, we all know what happened in season 5. But like, it's just one of these situations. It shows you how good naturally, she's just naturally good at these games.
I just
And
need to just add a couple of other things that she
yeah,
wrote here. So for personality, presents an innocent, dumb, and easily persuaded. Use a wallpaper strategy, blend in and avoid drawing attention. And then notes, neutral, non-confrontational expression. Keep a slight slouch, appearing to be non-intimidating. Avoid standing tall or taking up too much space, especially at the round table. Be agreeable and supportive of others' ideas and appear easily influenced. Always have 2 suspected traitor names ready to share. Choose people on low social capital in case they get mad. Attention, Dan's US game, page 15 for flaws. So she studied what he did.
yeah.
Use being quiet as the reason why I haven't been murdered.
Like, the thing is, what's really funny about it too is that we know that like these are her scenarios. So she's playing a game, she's playing a character. Anybody else that goes on that show, you can't just be somebody else. Like, your real personality has to shine through. So the fact that she had like all these plans and she was able to actually blend in and wear her dull colors and be meek and mild when we know that she is this strong, powerful woman is just.
Well, I wonder though how she got by with working in fashion, but like she looked great, but like definitely.
So I'm watching
Mhm.
and I'm like, every episode, I'm like, oh my God, Neda looks so good. Like, I love this outfit. I love those bows. I love those pigtails, whatever. Not realizing that,
She got
those
you.
fashion choices were for a reason. And I just think that that is so interesting. I want to study her brain.
Yeah, I want to study her brain. I want to study her manual.
I definitely want to see that manual. I need a phone call for another season and I need that book.
Let's put it out there.
Like, just saying, that is amazing.
So we start this episode back at the conclave. We hear that Kira wants Gail, and she like Neda wants Nick, but she said that Nick trusts her and he doesn't really speak up. And so I know that they made a compromise because they both had a crossover with Gail, but the fact that she was so strong on Nick, and even the last round as well, she said no Nick, and I think was that the round when he was safe or not? And she was just protecting him and not being flexible with him more than once. And I think that also was probably showing Neda that like, she's really
what's going on there. Yeah. I think the whole Nick thing, I mean, from the get-go, you're like, oh my God, this gives you an advantage. But like you were saying earlier, I think it ended up being a disadvantage for her because he almost became a bit of a crutch because she did have to look out for him. She did have to think about if she was going to murder him, if she was going to recruit him or whatever. She couldn't play the game like she wanted to, right? So I definitely think that kind of hindered her a little bit. And I think that her cards showed too much in the conclave whenever she would talk to Neda. It's not her, like Neda said, she knows Kira, she's seen her lie, she knows when she's lying, and she can also tell when her emotions get heightened. So I think what would happen with Kira in the conclave, she would get like really high emotions and Neda could just read her like a book. Right?
100%. And if Nick wasn't there, yes, she wouldn't have like that extra vote or that extra voice that could help maybe push her agenda, but she had somebody that was like a non-negotiable. And I think that just having a little bit more flexibility and freedom with people that you could be like, okay, yeah, they can go. Because you do want to appear to be working with the other person, to be agreeable. You don't want to necessarily go into the conclave and like be against. Exactly. So I think it could have helped her a lot or helped her get to where she was or where she got. And yeah, that's as far as it went. So Kevin and Lauren are the first at the breakfast table, and I still think it's hilarious how it's like they're like, okay, well, I'm a faithful, but they're both still in their confessionals. They're like, I don't trust them, I don't believe them, I don't trust them.
Their dynamic is so much fun. Oh my God! Like, I just want to watch a reality TV show where they're best friends, and we just watch them go out and get coffee and like talk about their friend group. Like so fun together.
I really like them together as well, but he's like, he still knows that Traitors Lauren, and she doesn't believe a word that he says, but they just get along so well. It's I can't wait to talk to them about their dynamic, and like at the end of it all, like, how do they feel about
You
each
know
other?
what's so funny is that they started off from the get-go like that too. Because you remember at the beginning, Lauren is like, I've decided he's going to be like Leroy and I'm going to be Gerline, but we're just not going to cut each other at the end. We're going to trust each other right to the end. And then like 2 days later, they're at each other's throats and you're a traitor, no, you're a traitor. And now they have like this fake, I believe you, but I don't really believe you relationship. And I'm just like, they're so entertaining.
Yeah, I definitely love them as a duo. They're very entertaining, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. We're still trying to think of like a better name for that, but it's so good. Hi, Olivier. Thank you for joining us.
Welcome, welcome.
So
He's our inside guy.
Yes, inside information.
Oh,
one thing that it said I did ask him, I believe it was him, was where we could maybe find Trana's season of Big Brother Extraordinaire or whatever. I can't remember what exactly it was called. And apparently it's not available anywhere. So Trana said that it's not available. Only the most recent season is available online, something to that effect. So there were a few people that were asking in the comments as to where we can find Trana's original reality show. And Trana doesn't know right now. So it would be maybe on Daily Motion or somewhere a little bit more obscure, but it's not on any network right now.
I'm going to ask the producers because I know I talked to some of the producers who did, because they're the same production crew that does Traitors.
Oh, okay.
Do the Big Brother, like the Quebec. I'll reach out and just see if they got an idea. Probably if Trana doesn't know, it's likely that it's the same situation, but
Trana might not know if it's available somewhere else that's not specifically on whichever network it usually airs on. So if you can find that out, I know some people are asking, and I would love to watch it as well because she's definitely been super entertaining, and so I want to see why they wanted to bring her onto the show. I know why, but like I want to see her.
I could honestly just sit and, you know what? I want her to watch and review movies. That's what I want to see her. I just want to see her watch and review movies. I just want her opinions and her metaphors.
But I'd want her to be doing it with somebody that has the complete opposite opinion of her.
Yes.
So like, I don't know if you've was a queen. She was a queen on Big Brother. Fun.
I love that.
But like she like her getting her point across, and like another person trying to like come for a point, and she just would like cut it down. Like that would be also very entertaining.
We need this. We're really good at producing television shows. Like
I would say so. Next in is Lori and Cedric. They ask him if he feels bad about taking the money, and he's like, absolutely not. Okay, so we didn't talk about that episode. So what are your thoughts about that?
So last week I wasn't available. Oh my God, was that not like Cedric's episode where people love him now? Because I loved him the whole season anyway, but just I know who he is. But after he took that money, I was clapping, I was hooting and hollering at the TV because you know what? That's a win-win. He doesn't have to leave the show. He gets $9,500. If he gets booted out or loses the game, he gets nothing. If he makes it to the end and wins, he still has to share it. So take the $9,500 and see how far you can go. Like, it was a no-brainer, and I'm proud of him. I would have done the exact same thing.
You have to take the money because he's been, everybody's had his name in their mouth the entire season. That also there's a very high probability that they're not going to figure out who the traitors are. So the faithfuls will lose anyways, and all the money will go to the traitors.
And he's also going to get banished at the fire. Like, you know what I mean? Like, even if he was voted least trustworthy, you can't think that they're going to let you win the game with them if that's what you're being voted. Like, take the $9,500. And I think that's why I don't think they cared. They were like, yeah, Same. Like, I
Well,
would've.
especially because there was no real consequence. Like there was no real reason for him not to take the money. It would have been maybe a little bit more of a choice if he had to leave the game or
I think
something. Go
if
ahead.
they do it in the future, I think that's the change they'll make. Do you remember that one season? It might have been New Zealand, where day one they were like, "There's 10 grand over there. Whoever runs to get it can keep it, but you have to leave right now." And then one guy just like booked her.
I mean, I'd probably
I
I want to
wouldn't do
play
that.
the game so badly, but
Yeah.
like 10 grand is still pretty
It's
good.
not a little bit of money, right? Like 10 grand is 10 grand. And let me just say from experience, you don't make anything unless you freaking win the pot. Like I went there. I know I wasn't there for long, but like you need to win to get some money from the show. So
Olivia says Cedric taking $9,500 has fewer reactions than Michael John taking 5,000.
literally though, but he didn't, that's the other thing too. Michael John didn't even get to keep that money. He just wagered it. He just took it from the pot so that he could get the shield.
I think the reason why people are more annoyed with Michael John doing it is because, like, definitely like Kira and Neda. He's a trader. He doesn't need it, and so he's actually just taking money from the pot where
Yeah.
it's not necessary. Like, and so
And it was more like a shield, and it was done, and so it was done for like a shield, and whoever did it didn't admit to it. They didn't own up to it at the table. So it was more, it felt more like a betrayal for Michael John to wager everybody's money for one selfish shield. Whereas Cedric, he's not really wagering the money, he's stealing the money, but he gets to keep the actual money. So I think they clicked in with reality and they were like, hey, I would have done the same thing. Whereas
and
with Michael John, they can't get on his level because they all didn't do it. Like they were given the same opportunity and didn't take it. So
well, and also if it wasn't for a shield and it was that they got to keep the money,
they
I
would have
think
taken it.
more people would have actually taken her up on the offer and been
Absolutely.
like, well, I'll take $5,000 out of the pot here
Mhm,
if I get to
mhm.
keep it.
Yeah, like if they were mad at Cedric, they would have been hypocrites. And I think that's the difference is that they're not hypocrites for being mad at Michael John because they did it. They were given the opportunity and didn't take it, you know?
Olivia says, but Kira's emotional reaction to Michael John taking the money was her downfall. Definitely, that was the beginning of her really kind of losing her strong position in the game.
Yeah, I think that it started it. It started like, you know, her bit of a spiral. I mean, realistically, she could have like not gone hard for Michael John at all. He would have eventually gone out. But I do think that I think Netta was always going to cut Kara. Like, there's no way she was going to go to the end with other traders. I don't think that was happening. Excuse me. I don't think any of them would have done it. Maybe Michael John, but I like Kara also wasn't going to go to the end with both of them. But I think that her being so open with Netta about how good she was doing from day one was her downfall. I think her admitting that nobody suspected her to Netta was what was always going to get her booted out.
Absolutely, and not seeing that Neda was like noticing some of these things.
Mhm.
I mean, obviously Neda was playing it really well, being not even giving her a hint. But
What are the
I would be
odds?
hyper aware of how I came across to everyone, not just the
Mm,
faithfuls, but like my fellow traders as well, because they also have your game in their hands. So
yeah.
Trana and Neda are next to enter. Trana's obviously happy that she made it around another round. And happy that Neda was there too, because Neda, she trusts 100%. Like, oh, Trana,
She's so
strong
much
and
fun.
strong. This is what we were talking about last week with Donna about the fact that Trina's 100% has been steering her wrong this entire season. Every single person that she was 100% know
Yeah.
in her heart, deep down, her gut feeling has been wrong. And so we just both found it really interesting that she hasn't clued in that whenever she has a gut feeling about something that she's 100% about, that
Yeah.
maybe it's the exact opposite. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Stop going with it. But it's so hard to not to do something that goes against like what your body tells you, right? Like it's so hard to go against the grain when like you feel that you're doing the right thing, and then to find out that you're wrong, it's like, but my compass, my compass told me to do this, you know?
If my compass was wrong more than twice, I would be like, I think my compass is broken.
That's fair.
This whatever the energy in this area is not giving me the right positioning, and I would be looking at my compass a little bit differently. Personally, I think so. Anyways,
Yeah.
obviously, I'm not in the game.
I'm happy she never. I'm happy she, because
Of course,
my
makes it more fun.
God, it's so fun to watch. And you know what? I love how much fun she's having online with it. Like the thing about these shows is they can really mentally like fuck you up, to be honest. They really can. I know a lot of people who have done them who hate the show after, they hate the cast, they hate everything, they're embarrassed, they don't want to talk about it. And I know people then who are like the opposite, they love it, whatever. And then some people just they're just indifferent, right? Trana is, she knows what she is. She knows how she's come across. She knows the game she played, and she knows who she is as a person. And she is in with the joke.
Yeah.
She had it, and it shows that like it's a fun show to play. It's a fun show to watch. You don't feel bad after about watching it and like rooting for or against her.
I will feel bad if, like, say it's her and Neda at the end, and Neda's gonna have to like turn her to her and be like, "I'm sorry."
But such good TV.
It's true.
Yeah.
But
I mean, at the end of the day, before that, I think what a lot of people forget, and like I forgot it for a bit. Everybody who plays the game will forget, because before you go, you sign a contract, you sign a piece of paper, and the top of the piece of paper says the Traitors. You know what you're going to do. You know that you're going to play a game. You know that they're not giving you anything. You're just, let's go have this opportunity. It's going to be on TV. Do these things, go crazy. But when you get in there, it just feels so real that people tend to have like big feelings about it. So I love that Tran is here to remind us that it is just a game and it is for fun and we should enjoy it. So I've been really enjoying that.
hi, Clinton. So we talked a little bit about this, but Clinton's saying
Yeah.
here, I found a flaw in the whole sibling twist. She's a traitor. Worrying about her brother in the game adds more stress to the job she's already has on her plate.
100%.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's helpful with getting the numbers, like if you want someone to start pushing an agenda, but I think worrying about him and thinking about his game and how it will, it is an extra stress that she didn't really need to be considering. And she did say at the beginning of the season that she would cut her brother in a second.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to say that to get on TV.
True. I know. But like, it might have helped her if she did.
Yeah. Oh, honestly, it would have been better for her game had she let him go. Right. So I don't know. I definitely think it wasn't the boost that we originally thought. And you know what? I'm a little bit pissed off that the truth never came out. I really
it's kind of a waste of a twist, really.
It was like cool, they were siblings, but it doesn't matter once one of them is banished. Like I want there to be questions about it. I want people to be like, why do they look so much alike?
I really thought that Neda had figured it out a couple of episodes ago. I thought she had. Maybe she did, but we just haven't seen that she figured it out. Yeah. Olivia says that's true. She turned against Neda as soon as she mentioned Nick. Yes. And it's like Neda doesn't even know that she's hitting a hot spot, touching a hot spot here. Like she has no idea.
Mad at Michael John too at the round table when he started throwing Nick's name out. That was the night that she was like, you're out of here.
And then being like, and he only spoke up because I started speaking up and I said something. And it's like, okay, you have a lot of control over this person, but like, if he's somebody that you just met, you wouldn't have that much conviction, I would think.
Exactly.
Yeah. So Kira is next into the breakfast room, leaving Nick and Gail as the final two people. And I wrote down had no emotion with Michael John. Who what am I talking about? Who had no emotion with Michael John?
Again, Nick comes in.
So Kira comes in next. Nick and Gail are the ones that are left. And then I wrote that had no emotion with Michael John. Was it Kira? Oh, in her confessional. In her confessional, she was just like, okay. And
I mean, she was ready for that from the beginning anyway. Like when she walked into the conclave and saw Michael John, she was like, shit.
Yeah, I mean, it made for a great season, but I really, if the Faithfuls were a little bit better at the game and they got him out, I really wanted to see a recruitment.
Yeah, I did too.
I really wanted to see who they would pick. Likely it would have been Gail, which would have been really cool seeing these 3 powerhouse women like running the game. Like it would have been awesome to see. Not that I didn't enjoy Michael John, but I just wanted to see a new dynamic. I wanted to see that happen.
You know what? I'm sad that we never got to see a Trana traitor. How fun would that? I mean, okay,
I don't think she would have been recruited though.
Oh, I know. Like, because she's
too good as a faithful.
And she's so bad as a faithful that like it's really good for TV. But I just think how funny would it be to see her try to navigate being a traitor? Because I feel like she would have been in tears every single day, like crying. Like she bonded with people so quickly. And I think it would have just been really. I mean,
I don't know if she would have been able to be
fun to see her sad trying to murder people.
I just don't know if she would have been able to be her full self. And I think that that's what the hardest part about being a traitor is that, you know, you do have to kind of play a little bit smaller, like we've seen Neda doing. And even Dan, we see everybody just like not being too, and I just don't see that for her personality. And you would be able to tell from before the blindfold goes on and after that she was like probably a little bit more gregarious and a little bit more personality. And then right after she's a little bit more reserved. And it just, I think that she would have been found out pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Just from who she is. So, but I would love to see maybe a version or a world where that's how it went down.
I want to see everybody as a traitor. I think they should like always redo the seasons and put people in different roles.
Emily says it didn't come out in the other country seasons, did it? The boyfriend, girlfriend, and mother son were never revealed. Were they? Well, the boyfriend, girlfriend, they revealed it themselves. They're just like, that's my girlfriend.
It was my favorite one. It was no reason. At breakfast, out of nowhere, he's like, she's my girlfriend.
She's like,
oh, so good. The mother-son thing. So it never came out, but it ended up being really, really funny after when he was coming for revenge. So I mean, maybe we'll get that with Nick, but there's only 1 episode left. So I think maybe that's what I'm annoyed at is that like,
you haven't
never really played to anything except for maybe a little bit of Kara's demise, really.
Yeah.
Olivia kept Nick in the show.
Say again? Oh,
and it kept Nick in the show. He would have been murdered, I think, a long time ago had it not been for Kara.
Well, he even says that at some point in this episode where he'd be like, I kind of think that my sister might be a traitor because I should be murdered by now. I'm not really contributing anything. Facts. Yeah. Olivia says, yes, the UK, they revealed during the show. But I don't know if they ever actually found out.
Alex.
Is that the boyfriend, girlfriend? Was it Tom and Alex? That makes sense.
And do you remember too how like, so guys, go watch every English speaking or whatever you speak, whatever you can understand. Go watch the Traitors because they're all good. But the UK one, I mean, Tom and Alex, do you remember the other guy that had a crush on Alex, though?
I can't fully remember, but I do remember, like, the dynamic, yeah.
Yeah, so, like, they're boyfriend, girlfriend, but they're not telling anybody. And then there's also, like, this young guy that has a crush on the girl. And, like, it's such good TV.
Such good TV. Was he a traitor?
No.
No, it wasn't.
I don't think any of them were. I think 3 of them were faithful.
I definitely remember the dynamic. I just can't picture them properly right now.
Yeah, he was a magician. I know too much.
Well, you've seen it recently. Like I watched it, not realizing that was going to be a big phenomenon. So I watched it like however many years ago, and I was like, "This is fun," and then all the other spinoffs came, and so I haven't watched it since it was airing in the UK. So
okay, right,
long time ago. How did I find out about it? I don't even know. But
I watched it after I watched the US one, after I was like in the running to be on Canada. That's when I started like watching them all. So I did watch it, but then I think I watched it like twice before I left.
I think I watched it. I think it started and then I heard about it and then I started watching it and like I caught up on the season and then I was watching it. I think it actually had all the episodes on YouTube actually. And then they had all like after they had Claudia doing like her radio show and having some of them in it. Like it was,
I saw that.
I was into that show. I found it fun.
Yeah, they're good.
Gail
I
is
just
murdered.
I want to throw it out there too, Olivier. Thank you very much for voting me in. He said he would vote in Mel B as a recruited traitor because I think
Oh,
that
sorry.
I just thought that I'm like, you know what? Same. That's probably the only way I win the game. Let's be real.
I think recruited traitor is the best position to win.
Mhm.
We've talked about this before, but you get to see how you are as a faithful, and like
Yeah.
you can understand like how you play as a faithful, and then it would just be easier for you to maintain that same energy, that same vibe.
Yeah.
And I just think it just would be easier for you to conceal yourself as a traitor.
Yeah.
And then you know that your now task is to get out the other traitor,
100%.
and you'd have the influence of the faithfuls likely. So
Yeah, I definitely think that's the best way to go. Unless you get recruited because you're already such a big suspect. That would be a hard turnaround.
Olivia says France season 3 also had 2 male celebrities known to be in a couple together outside the show. Oh, I'm gonna watch all Francis. 3
Yeah.
seasons.
So
That's
they
fun.
were, you know what? The US season 2 did that too. They had a couple. Pippin.
Oh, right, Larsa and Marcus.
Yeah. So they had like a known couple. I mean, I'm sorry if I know you're a couple outside the show. I'm sending one person home, regardless of if I think you're a traitor or not,
I
or
mean, I'm probably
murdering
sending
someone.
all the people I think are faithfuls home and being like,
Yeah. Oops. But you're not going to keep a duo. You know what I mean?
no.
Like, I think that's just foolish for people to keep a duo in this kind of a game.
Unless like, you want to use them as a voting block and like know that you have 2 people's vote if you're in an alliance with them.
But what happens if they turn? It's just too unknown because they could turn against you.
That's true.
Right?
That's
It's
true.
tricky. It's
So
tricky.
Gail is murdered. I mean, we knew it was likely going to happen, but I was kind of sad about this. Gail, she was really fine with how she did in the game.
Yeah.
She's at peace with it, and she is really thankful that she was a faithful, and she's rooting for them. I'm sad that Gail didn't get to be recruited.
I am too. I mean, how much fun would that have been at the beginning? The 3 girls, like,
They'd be like, bubble, bubble, toil and trouble, fire burns and cauldrons bubble.
and 3 like strong women with very varying different personalities. Like that would have been a really fun dynamic to watch for sure. But yeah, no, she entered as a faithful and she left as a faithful.
So Kira, we see her talking to Nick, and so wait, what am I talking about? Kevin something. All of her powers was he covering? What am I talking about? Don't you make notes? And I'm just like, what am I? I usually know what I'm talking about with my notes, and then I'm like,
I wish you know what you should do one day is write your notes and like take pictures of them and send them to me, and then I'll do the recap, but by reading your notes and try to understand what the hell it is.
Yeah, well, because I'm like writing fast, whatever, and like I'm watching, but like I don't usually like rewind and like I just like start.
You write your thoughts.
Kevin, oh, maybe he was minimizing all of her points. Was he covering?
Who was he talking to? Kira?
Kira's talking to Nick.
Kira's talking to Nick. So not Kevin.
No, but okay, she was saying to Nick that Kevin, if I'm remembering correctly, was like not really taking all of her points. I guess it would have been about who is she talking about? Oh my god, where's my remote? I need to go watch this scene back again. Okay, if you remember what happens, we can go back to that part. But what I think is really interesting is that like they've been taking more opportunities to chat together. Now I know there's less people in the manor, and so you could speak to everybody more. But if I saw those 2 together often, I would start noticing. I think that they look alike.
When I look at them side by side, I'm like, okay, yeah, they look alike. But at the same time, I definitely would not have noticed it. I don't think the resemblance is crazy enough to like just look at them and be like, they're related. You know what I mean? So
their eyes though are so similar.
But I think I would really need to I would need to see them side by side and have somebody be like, did you know that they're siblings? For me to actually look at them and be like, oh yeah, they look alike. Like, I don't think I would have picked up on it just being around them, you know?
Dreadful Ruby says Jared looks exactly like Sari and they got away with it. I mean,
Now that I think that Jared and Cirie looked a little bit more alike than what Nick and Kara look.
See, I think that Nick and Kira look more like that. I mean, definitely he looks like
It
his
might be
mother's
the red
son, but
hair.
well, it's just like they're both kind of fit people, and like they just like I feel like some of their mannerisms are very similar, and their eyes are very similar to me. So, anyways, that's what I was always just like looking at whenever I saw them together. I'm like,
It would need to be like the Maury split screen. Did you remember Maury? We'd be like, look over here, look at this person's eyes. Like, yeah, it would need to be something like that for me.
So Nick is now looking at Kevin and Lauren as a potential, traitors, which is interesting. But he's also going to start looking at Neda. We saw last episode that Kira had kind of dropped the little seed about Neda here, saying that she's too quiet. Now, I really wish that I think I was at the round table with the whole too quiet argument that Neda would be like, well, Nick, you're also always too quiet.
I was thinking the exact same thing. They kept saying about how Neda's quiet, and that's why you're a traitor. And then it's like, well, why are you 100% faithful and I'm all of a sudden a traitor for the exact same trait? Like, that didn't make sense to me why they were arguing it. And that Nick was one of the ones who were saying, oh, well, you've been quiet and whatever. Like, the only reason he was speaking up is because Kara was telling him to speak up. Like, this is what I mean. Like, okay, we got 20 minutes of a round table. But imagine seeing that full roundtable. Guaranteed somebody said that, and we just never got to see it, you know?
I would think so. Oh my God. Olivia says that Nick just reached 25 million followers on YouTube. That's
Isn't
a
that
lot.
insane?
That's a lot.
25 million.
That's a lot. How do we get to there? Wow.
He's got to make more than 35,000 a year, right? Because do you remember when Kara said that? Because I remember when she was like, I only make 35,000 a year. And I was thinking, like, is it from YouTube? Is that... how do I make 35,000 a year on YouTube? Because
well, easily, Aika, she has about not even 25 million. Like she doesn't even have a million. I think at this point she had maybe 400,000, and she was being honest about how much money she was making. She wasn't being like completely transparent, but she said that she made more than between $50,000 and $100,000 a month just from YouTube, and that's with 400,000 subscribers.
Right? Did you say a month? I thought you were saying a year. Between 50 and 100 a month.
Yeah. So he has 25 million. That means his videos are all hitting like a million. You get about $2 to $3 per 1,000 views. Like.
What we need to do is we need to get Nick. I mean, we'll interview him after finale. We're going to get Nick on the show.
So maybe Nick can get us into shape. Maybe that's what we'll do as a crossover.
Boot camp.
Get a Kira Nick boot camp or something like that.
Yeah.
Get fit with these two.
Let's do something because that's nuts. I think I have 35 followers on my YouTube channel.
I mean, I have an okay, I think of almost 14, 13 and a half. But he has more than 100 times or 1,000 times? So many more than me.
That's nuts.
Wow.
That's nuts.
Dreadful says it's weird that they got a clue about it in the challenge, but it never came up again. That would have made me realize they look alike, I think. Yes. Also, I'm surprised by that didn't come up.
I feel like they probably had planned to sabotage it a little bit more. And then the season just ended up delivering on its own. I honestly think that they were like, hey, we could do this, we could do that. But then the season got so chaotic. There were so many fights. The faithfuls were so wrong all the time. I think they just didn't need the sibling aspect. It was a twist that they put into the game to make it more interesting. And I just think they just didn't need it. So...
Well, I wonder if it was I'll come on the show if you bring my sister, or vice versa, maybe.
Could have been something like that.
I'm curious though, because
I want to know who got the call first. I feel like it was Kara, even though Nick is the known person. You know what I mean? She seems more. Although, how would they get her? Because they don't do open casting.
So maybe they approached him, and he was like, "No, my sister would be somebody."
I have a hunch. I'll off screen it to you later. I have a hunch now what I'm thinking.
Oh, I love a hunch. Love a hunch. Trina again mentions that she would trust Neda at the end. Like, Trina, you're about to get your heart broken.
I love Hannah. Put her on more shows, please. With
So
Neda.
Neda has decided though now that she's going to start bringing up Kira. She's starting to get a little bit worried, knows that they're getting near to the end of the game. She's just worried, obviously, that Kira might start bringing her up. So she needs to nip this in the bud before that has a chance to get any traction. So she gets ahead of the story, and smart. It's smart.
Yeah.
The timing was excellent,
She knows
especially because like earlier on the season, you know that she is like, okay, I'm worried about Michael John, but like it's not the time. I want to work with the Traitors as long as possible. So you know that she is really being calculated as to when it's the right time to turn on Kira. And the fact that Kira, she could feel that Kira was starting to do it to her. She got ahead of it.
Something tells me that she had her own little notebook with another 500 pages in her hotel room saying like what she was going to do and when she was going to turn on them. Like, because you're allowed to take notes during the game. Like, you get to have like your notebook, your pen. It's not the same as Big Brother in that aspect. So guaranteed Neda was in her room just like writing away.
I want to ask her about her Traitor notebook.
Yeah, she definitely has one. I want to see it. Don't feel bad.
Clinton says, don't feel bad, Mel. You just have to find out what works for you on YouTube. A day in the life of a traitor vlog.
My problem is, honestly, my attention span.
I mean, like, you definitely have to. So you've never played any orgs or anything like that, because you really have to. Sometimes you have to pace yourself, and like, you want to make a move, but like you kind of have to wait. And so
yeah,
yeah,
no, I'm too hyperactive. My ADD is like a blessing and a curse. Like I can like fixate on certain things and I can dive right in, but at the same time, I need to be like around. I need like 75 different things going on all at once for me to feel settled sometimes.
I could get that though too. Yeah. But in these games, like the restraint, it's challenging, but it's usually pays off.
You need it, yeah.
Dreadful says if Neda doesn't get to recruit, she's going to have a tough time. She basically has to convince them that there were only 2 traitors.
Yeah, it's going to be really hard.
Or when do they stop? Are you allowed to say? Does it say when?
So I thought from my memory, you get a chance to recruit when there's 2, and then when you're down to 1 traitor, you have to blackmail somebody up until the last night. So the thing is that they were so late getting out both traitors. Now they're at finale. So Neda doesn't have to do like I think Karen even said, "Who do you want to murder tonight?" Like I don't think she gets the option to blackmail because they're going into the final table.
So my question is though, when does the game stop?
When everybody agrees at the fire. So next week,
not like at final 4, it stops no matter what.
Everybody has to be unanimous. So next week they'll go to a round table. They'll banish somebody at the round table.
But then they will probably not reveal if they're a traitor or a faithful.
Well, they might, because the other seasons all did. Canada was the first one that never. So last season, Trevon didn't get to say if he was or wasn't. And that was like a new twist. But basically, so they might not. But then when they get to the fire, so say there's like 4 people at the fire, Corinne will be like, here's your bags. If you want to keep playing, you're green. If you want to banish again, it's red. Or yeah, if you want to banish again, it's red. If you want to stop, it's green. And then everybody has to give her back, and they throw them all in. And then if you want to banish again, everybody has to banish. And they do that until there's 2 players left or everybody agrees to end the game. So most times people will just keep going till there's 2 so they can share more money. And that's what we saw last year. They tried.
Okay. Because I thought that, say, maybe at the final 4, that's when the game ends. You know what I mean? But like, okay, I get that. But I'm saying, like, I thought that the game will end no matter what, say at the final 4.
Right.
But then there are a lot. But like you're saying that it goes until final 2, not final 4. Like unless they decide to end the game.
Exactly. Yeah. Because like the US one, everybody was like up in arms. I could not believe, because they almost ended at final 4. And then they banished again, ended at final 3. And people still couldn't believe that they ended at final 3 because of how, obvious it seemed to us. But yeah, so it's just final two for sure. But before then, if they want to end it with more people, they all have to agree.
I thought it was final four, but final two. Okay, so that's definitely even harder for her
Yeah.
to get there, because unless though we don't know, if they don't know who was a traitor at a certain point,
Mhm.
when they get banished, that will help Neda, because she could be like, well, they were probably they were a traitor,
Exactly.
so that would
Well,
help her if that's part of the
say
game.
they banished Lauren at the round table and she's not allowed to say if she was a traitor or faithful, then Neda could get to the fire and be like, guys, we're all faithful. Like, we got Lauren out. We know she was a traitor. You know what I mean? Like, that could happen. And if that does happen, she's the only traitor left. 4 of them are there thinking they share a pot and she steals it. I love this show. Have I mentioned that?
Olivia says if Neda is banished, they won't reveal her identity and they will keep them guessing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Dreadful says, I think that her best bet is to try and get out Cedric at the round table, then Lauren at fire. If they don't reveal, they might believe that they got a traitor in Lauren. Exactly. So, exactly.
We
So
still
it's
have Lori too and Kevin.
Kevin, they could
Anna, like,
so who could she get numbers? Okay, we'll talk about this in a second. Let's just get to there in the episode.
So many people left.
Yeah, I didn't think that they would start the finale. I thought they would maybe have one more week and then do the finale.
Yeah. No, they'll do. I think next week we'll see whoever got murdered. We'll see probably a fast mission, and then we need to do roundtable and then fire. There's a lot. It better be long. If it's not
It might
long,
be longer. I'm sure it will be longer. I'm sure it will. So Kevin and Cedric are talking, and Cedric is like, we're going after Medusa. I think that means Lauren is who's Medusa, cutting off the head of the snake here.
You know what cracked me up? He said that it's a 3-headed snake, and we're going after the head of the snake. And I was like, it has 3 heads. You just said 3-headed snake. I know it's like minor, but it cracks me up when things like that happen.
Well, I did think of that as well, and then I was also thinking Medusa has a head full of snakes.
Full of snakes.
And so, like,
yeah,
none of this really makes sense, but I know where you're going.
Slytherin or something, like.
So Nick does say, I mentioned this a little bit earlier, that there has to be a reason why he's still alive, thinking that, okay, maybe his sister is a traitor here. And so she talks to him, or he talks to her and tells her, like, starts talking about Neda and like talking about comparing them to other traitors. What Kira's talking about, comparing Neda to other traitors in past franchises. And I'm like, like, this is like, she has knowledge about Neda, and I'm like, this could really hurt Neda's game.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I didn't know what was going to happen. I truly was like, I don't know who, like, when they were sprinkling each other's names before the round table, I had no idea who was going to be banished, because I was like, they're both doing a good job.
Well, Neda starts dropping Kira to Trana, and she starts talking about like Lauren and Kevin, and so Neda is nervous here. Like, she's kind of like not sure who has the most influence at this point. So in the car going on the way to the challenge, we have Neda, Lauren, Trana, and they're all talking about Kira. In Kira's car, we have Lori, Cedric, and Nick talking about Neda. And I'm like, oh my God, it's like the same amount of people. They're both talking about each other. Who's going to win this battle?
So good. I was mad that I had so much work to do today, because I would have watched that episode probably 3 times before this recording tonight. Like, it was good.
Emily says, just catching up after supper, but that's right. I forgot that they added themselves at breakfast. So they get stopped en route to the mission. This didn't really land. Like, I wanted to see maybe a little bit more of them getting stopped, but they didn't really. I guess they got shackled up together, but
it was one of those missions that looks like a lot of fun to play, but like, for the TV purposes, is kind of like, okay, cool. Like, let's get to the round table. And you know what? To be fair, maybe it was better but it was such a good roundtable that they just like cut it. Maybe they were like, you know what, this doesn't matter. Let's just show them what the mission was and let's just get to the roundtable. Because it was also very quick too.
Especially with Lori, she had said that she had a panic attack of some sort, so she pulled herself from that mission, and so they were blindfolded and shackled.
I say too, I just have to throw it out there. I'm really proud of Lori, because she posted a video on Instagram after, and she didn't explain, what it was that had happened to her, but she had a traumatic experience in a car 20 odd years ago. And she said, she's worked through it. She's done therapy. She's come really far. But that the thing about anxiety and trauma and these things is that, and post-traumatic stress, is that you don't know, right? So when this had happened and they had the blindfolds and everything else, she did have a full-blown panic attack. And she said, the other players had recognized that she was having a panic attack. She recognized, and she, got herself out of that situation. I just want to say, like, kudos to her, because especially you're in a game on TV, like that can also be a time where you're like, I can't quit. I have to move forward, and you could make your trauma worse. So I just think that was really good of her to recognize it was happening and remove herself from that situation.
And also speaking up about it. A lot of people have had similar experiences, and so allowing them to know that it's okay to be honest about how you're feeling and being like, I don't want to participate in this because it's making me feel like this, and I need to remove myself. And so I think it was great to show. I'm happy that they showed it, and I'm happy that she's happy about it.
Yeah, instead of just like because they could have just edited it out. So I am happy that she spoke about it. I'm happy that the show featured it, and I think that it's important. Doesn't make you any like less brave, or doesn't make you weak. Like, it makes you smart.
Like, well, yeah, and like listening to your body and not pushing through when it's a no.
Exactly. Yeah. So I just had to touch on that.
Of course. So they have 30 minutes to get as much gold as possible. Basically, the first round they had to go and get a key for the shackles. What are the groups? So the groups are Lauren and Trana are together. Nick, Kira, and Cedric are together. And what's the other group? I must have written it down. Anyways, there's another group of two. They get to the key and it sets off a smoke thing, and that means like one of the guys that are hiding in the bushes wearing masks starts running after them.
They were so fast. I was like, oh my God, I would have got caught. I'm not fast. I don't run. Like, I would have been caught immediately. And I loved watching Cedric. Who was it again? Cedric, Kira, and Nick.
Yeah.
Trying to run with their Cedric was tied on both legs.
Yeah, poor. Like, they definitely would have to be in sync. Like, right leg with Kira's left leg and his left leg with Nick's right leg, and like figure out how to walk like that. But it would be hard.
So funny to watch. But I also, what did you think about when he got tied to the tree and like untied himself?
Yeah, I was curious. I'm like, I wrote down, where is that part?
Kevin could have done that.
I just was like, is he okay? I'm like, haha, Hedrick slipped out. Is he allowed to do this? I thought he was gonna get in trouble, to be honest.
Yeah, but they let him do it.
So everybody, like a few people got caught. So Kevin got caught. Trana got caught, and Kevin and Trana do make a little bit of a pact here, saying that like, let's go to the end together and like stick together to the end. And so I feel like Trana doesn't trust Kevin, but it was good for her to say that, yes, I agree with this. So just to get her further in the game in the eyes of the faithfuls. The next round, though, after they evaded these masked men, is to find gold that's hidden in the heart of these scarecrows. We've seen versions of this before where they have to kind of get the heart. There hasn't been that many shields involved in these missions. And I know it's late in the game, but there was no shield. It would have been kind of nice to have a shield like the last round.
You know what I was surprised at? That they didn't. Maybe it was because Dom was like evicted or whatever. Because they didn't normally at the last like night before finale. I'm used to them being like, nobody is murdered tonight. Everybody can sleep fine. And then everybody gets to get up the next day and do the mission and do the round table and the fire. But maybe it was just because I don't know. I don't know why they're murdering again. I just assumed that they would have let them all have like the final night.
Maybe because they're ending this earlier, it seems. Maybe it'll be a 2-hour episode. Maybe we'll have a full round.
Yeah, maybe.
Because like what, there's 7 people left. That's quite a bit. There'll be one
It's a
person
lot.
review.
Yeah,
That's
that's
gonna be
true, too.
6. And then they'll have a banishment. They'll be down to 5. Maybe then they will have a sleep, and then everybody, the final 5, will wake up the next day to do the final mission and the banishment and the fire.
No, I think it's only one mission left. I think it's like whoever gets murdered, mission, round table, and then fire from the round table. Because they normally do the fire late at night. Like I think last year they were on the go till like 1 or 2 a.m. or something. Like it was like a late night.
Clifton says the shield are those prizes you find at the bottom of cereal boxes. I used to love prizes at the bottom of the cereal box. Like, do they still do that?
Okay, I think so. It might be like a mail-in thing, but okay, we're similar age groups. Did you have the CDs for the computer games?
Yeah, of course.
Do you remember that era when it was like the Lion King, and it was like a CD that you put in your computer, and they were like games?
I mean, not specifically the Lion King, but
I
like
remember having like a Lion King game, and like Roller Coaster Tycoon was one.
Tycoon I played on like a console, but I definitely played. I love that game. You make them like a really crazy roller coaster, and everybody comes up off it sick and barfing.
Yeah, loved it. But yeah, no, there was like a period of time, I don't know if it was the late 90s or early 2000s, where cereals were giving out PC games. So it was like you bought cereal and there was a physical disc
Got it.
inside.
I think I might have been just out of cereal consuming age a little bit in the 90s. Mm-hmm.
You cannot grow there. That doesn't exist. Like,
I mean, my favorite cereal is Raisin Bran. Come on, Raisin Bran Crunch. But like that's
I had like 3 bowls of Lucky Charms yesterday.
I've had Lucky Charms once in my life. I think. I don't even remember specifically, but I think those marshmallows are familiar. So I only remember it once. Though. What else? What other?
We might have to end our friendship.
I like Fruit Loops.
Fruit Loops are good. Frosted Flakes are probably my favorite.
I used to like Frosted Flakes. They just get soggy too quickly. They should be like.
See, I'm a shoveler. Food is not safe near me.
What's another good cereal? I used to like Corn Pops.
Yes.
And I did like, what's the one with those? It's like little orange pillows. Captain Crunch.
Oh, Captain Crunch is good, but it cuts the roof of your mouth.
Oh no, mine would get a little bit soggy, so it's kind of crunchy and like. But it would never.
Are you a dunker? Do you pour the milk over the cereal and then just eat it, or do you dunk it all first?
I will mix it. I won't dunk it specifically, but I will mix, and I will have every bite have probably equal. Yeah, it has to be wet. I don't want dry cereal. I like it a teeny bit soggy.
When Traitors is over, we need to just keep the podcast going with like cereal talk. I think that this could be a hit.
Well, one thing that we're going Shreddies. I don't know if I've ever had Shreddies. Sorry,
Crawfish Shreddies.
Shreddies
blocked with sugar.
I don't think I've ever had it though. I don't even know what it tastes like.
You know what's good? What was I eating recently?
I like Vector.
Celiac, so he's like he has to get a lot of gluten-free things, and I think I bought him gluten-free Chex. They might have been like apple cinnamon or something.
Oh, maybe I've had Chex.
Yeah, they're kind of like Shreddies, but whatever it was like a gluten-free, but it was anyway. I bought it for him, and then I ate the whole box. I was like, well, this is mine now.
Yeah. Olivia says a dagger would be an interesting twist next week. Double vote.
That would be cool. They did do that this season already, because I think
they didn't use it. That was the one that they had to choose Nick and Cedric,
right? And they took the shield instead.
Mm-hmm.
Dagger would be really cool.
Harvest Crunch. I don't know if I've had it, but I've seen the box.
Delicious. Really good.
But one thing that people do want us to do is go through the cast season 3. I've already did it when it was dropped. But now that they have all their cast photos, we could go through the cast of season 3 of the Traitors USA and then have a little discussion about that. And maybe there'll be some shows that you need to go watch so you can see some of these people in action.
I started Carolyn's Survivor season, and then I think I
Okay.
just got distracted. So I think I might be 2 or 3 episodes into that one. So I'll revisit.
Emily wants to know if Boston Rob is going all the way. It will go out the way that Bananas did in January, first boot.
Do we think that they'll make him a traitor so that doesn't happen?
There's so many people that they might make traitors,
I know,
so
it's
that
a
doesn't
good, it's
happen.
a stacked cast.
You can, but he could still be first boot, even if he is a traitor, right?
True. Yeah. Yeah. Can confirm he can still leave early.
I wonder if they might just make him a faithful, just to see Rob in like a faithful position, because we expect him to be a traitor,
Like
right?
the Kevin of season 1 of like Traitors Canada almost.
Oh, that
Like,
Kevin. I'm like, which Kevin? Which Kevin?
Yeah, yeah. But like just make him a faithful because it would feel like he should be a traitor, but like put him in the faithful role to see kind of how he handles it.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Because Kevin's known to be strategic, and he was a pretty good faithful. And so it would be nice to see Boston
He
Rob
was
as a
trash,
faithful.
Chantele. I don't know why I just nodded to that. He was trash.
No, he was good.
Kevin's trash.
But too bad you just didn't get a chance to work together. Okay. Emily wants to know what Nick is from. His YouTube channel is
Literally just
better than any show he could have been on because
yeah,
he's very
25
popular.
minutes. I think he's parkour. He just like does backflips and such.
Yeah, crazy
Like,
stunts, like Olivia's saying here. Okay, so they end up getting a whole bunch of money. We didn't see that much of this challenge. It wasn't that great, like dynamic to watch, but you know, we've seen different versions of this kind of challenge in other iterations.
Yeah, it's fun to do.
Getting back into the cars, Neda's car has decided that they're fully backing her. And then we hear that Kira says that Neda was a quiet assassin on Big Brother. And I'm like,
She started spilling the tea. Like she went full force to be like, hey, listen, Neda's the other one. Look at this. Now I gotta say, I think that defending herself against Neda was a fine move, but I think going as hard as she did at Neda was the wrong thing to do. Because like say it had to work and Neda went home and then she's confirmed a traitor. Kara now just went really hard on both. Like, I think that there's no way she gets out of it if she goes that hard at Neda and survives.
Yeah, I think that she, considering at the round table how she ends up voting, it might have served her better if she had just gone hard on somebody else and not try to waste that social capital on Neda. Like just be, well, Neda's doing some weird things, but like right now I think that it could be Lauren or whatever it is, and like just get the people that might be voting for you to vote for Lauren and not do this interesting divide here. So
yeah, absolutely.
Kevin tells Cedric that the plan is to maybe go for Kira, but Cedric doesn't want to trust Kevin or that plan. I'm like, Cedric, just go with the plan. Why are you against the plan?
You're turning into Trana.
Turning into Trana. So Cedric tells Neda that Kira brought her up, and so Neda's like, okay, so my gut feeling was correct here, and she's happy that she started to trickle some Kira seeds already. So then when Kira talks to Neda, Kira tells Neda that her name was brought up, but then lies and said it was by Lori.
Yep. And she
also
was so obvious. Good. She was such an obvious, like, and I don't think that was an obvious lie because we saw her lie. Like, I have to say, when I was watching it, I had a friggin' flashback to my first or second night in the conclave, whenever it was, when I said to Kuzi, who said my name? And she went, I can't remember. She had like this pause, and the way it was just like one of those things. Like Kuzi is phenomenal in her role, but in that moment in the conclave, she just wasn't fast enough. And I think Kara did this exact same mistake with Neda because she's like, oh yeah, your name was brought up in the car, but it was this, it was that, whatever it was. She just had this like way about her, her tone and her words that were just, there was just something there that was like, you could tell she was lying.
Well, and it was like, Ned already knew that it was Kira that probably brought up her name, and
Mhm.
so she was going to be caught in a lie no matter what, and so everything
Yeah.
that she ever, no matter how she answered it, was going to seem duplicitous, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I really thought at the round table, I don't know if I said this already to you or just thought about it, but I thought that Neda was going to reveal that, well, Lori, Kira said that you were the one that brought my name up in the
Mhm.
car, and
Yeah.
just hear what she says about that. Like, Kira lied about that information. I thought that she was going to use that, because then Lori would be like, wait, that wasn't me that brought it up. You brought it up, Kira. And like, it would have.
She may have like she might have said that, because that could be something that got cut out too. Because we're trying to kind of figure out like how it went from Neda in the morning being like, "Hey, I don't trust Kara. I finally feel comfortable saying this," to roundtable argument to Kara going home. Like, how did it go so quickly? And maybe she did say something like that and we just never got to see it. And that was what kind of helped pad the old traitor resume to get everybody to send her home.
Kira is a little bit worried, though. She didn't get as much information before a roundtable as she usually gets. She doesn't really know where she stands with a lot of people or how people are voting, which I think is interesting. That she's kind of feeling this way,
Mhm.
when her name is being brought up. And so both of these women are very intuitive, and they can really sense when things are a bit off.
Mhm.
But unfortunately, Kira did not have enough time to kind of course correct. Kira does talk to Nick, though, before the round table, and neither of them really want to vote for Lauren, but probably figuring that that's going to be their best bet. And I really think that even with Neda coming for her best bet would have been still going
Lauren.
hard for Lauren.
Mhm.
At least Lauren, or even Cedric. She might have been able to get people onto Cedric, but she kind of wasted her roundtable time defending herself against Neda, which
Yeah, and not even so much in defending herself, because I think she did a good job defending herself. But yeah, it was
she
throwing
wasted
it
her
back
time,
and
though.
deflecting it to Neda instead of just sticking with Lauren. She could have got Lauren out tonight and then turned everybody on Neda tomorrow.
Emily's like, I'd keep Cedric till fire as a shield if I'm a traitor.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. He comes all the way there, or Lauren comes all the way there.
Send him
Like,
home with his $9,500.
so we get to the round table. Trust is a cruel friend is playing in the lyrics of the song. I thought it was funny. They made $8,500 at the last mission, making their total 57.5. What's the biggest pot? 100?
It's such a pathetic.
But 100 is the max, right?
100 is the max they can win. Last year's trader took home like 96,000. And this pot on the friggin' second last episode was like 56, like
Well, maybe
why?
they'll make the last mission $50,000 or whatever.
I don't know, because last year we were all talking about how like, oh, they're gonna top it up, and they never, like, they let the mission. I mean, they made the last one big enough to get, close to, but they didn't just like finish it. They didn't just give them the full 100. So I don't know. I feel like this time, I mean, how much more can they really, are they going to make it 50? They'll probably make it 30
30.
and then finish with like
Well, it
80
depends
grand.
on what they end up doing, but maybe if they were going to be like grabbing different things for 3,000, then maybe they'll make it 5,000 each,
Yeah.
whatever that they have to get. Or
And
I
then
don't.
they still have to get everything. You know what I mean? Like, so say it's worth 50, but they have to, like you said, like grab 5 here, 10 there, whatever. They still got to get it all.
I
So I
think
don't
that they
know.
will, like, $56,000. I mean, 57,005. I mean, I'm not gonna be upset about this, but it's quite a small pot.
Between 4 people. Imagine, because that could happen. So imagine $50,000 split between 4 people. You know what I mean? It's like, listen, it's still 2 weeks away, free food. You got to stay at the manor. You get to play a game and be on TV, and you take home, 20 grand,
15,000,
whatever.
whatever.
20,
Mhm.
it's still great. It's still a fun time, but
It's
like,
still
what a
great,
sad
but
pot.
I kind of want like a big chunk,
I want to see that $1 million like Deal or No Deal money. That'd be
Apparently, this
cool.
new season has the biggest prize money that's ever been given out in competitive reality shows, and they just gave out 4.56 million for Squid Game. So the person took home more than 5 million, probably.
Do you know I auditioned for that show in a bikini?
Squid Game?
No. Deal or No Deal Island.
Oh, you did?
Canadians were allowed to audition. I don't think they took any after. I think it was like one of these, like, we'll let you audition, but then we'll decide what we want to do. And yeah, I literally threw on a bikini top and put like a beach towel on my shoulder, and like I did a full on. I was like, at the very least, I have to get like a call back, right? Like I'm pretty well like just being like, hey, look at my boobs, put me on TV. Yeah, it didn't work.
You didn't get a call back even? They're so annoying sometimes. Just call people back.
Come on.
Come on.
But yeah,
so Corinne gets some props that a traitor was banished at the last round table, but they still have work to do. Trana starts this off with a shot. And she doesn't want to disregard people. She's trying to look at where her blind spots are. And she just turns and directly asks Kira, are you a traitor? Kira's just like, shit, I'm unfaithful. She never said no. And I wish that she had said, no, I'm a faithful, but she just said, I'm a faithful. And to me, that just sounded like she didn't defend it in that moment enough, I think. I know that, like, I think Trana believed it, whatever, but if she says, would be like, no, I just think that she needed to say no, and didn't say no there.
She got emotional after, but it was more so angry than it was confused. You know what I mean? Like, it was a bit different. It was a different feeling for sure.
So then Neda starts bringing up some decent evidence, but very, very calmly. And she brings up, we talked about it a little bit already, about the fact that Michael John just brushed off Pac-Man and Nick with their kind of accusations, but then MJ looked betrayed when, Kira. And so do you think that that's actually true, or do you think she just made that up?
I don't think he looked like more betrayed when Kara did it than like anybody else. But I think that the point I would have like led into further would be that, okay, he looked betrayed, but also those people said, I mean, Nick never got murdered, but like, I think I would have like went down the whole trail too of like the people that said MJ's name got murdered and you went hard for him. Why are you still here? You know what I mean?
So Michael John did have a weird reaction when Lauren wrote his name. I don't remember. So I guess that's what I think Kira, I was saying that to push it over to Kira, to Lauren at this point. Usually I write down.
And then what? But then Neda had like a good rebuttal for that too, and said something about like, oh, I see. If I had to, I'm gonna have to quit my job so I can watch these shows just all day long and remember my points, because I remember thinking like that was a really good defense that she had about.
I might have written it down. Some more things that she said. So Kira starts coming for Neda, and I wrote down, my heart is beating so fast right now during this round table.
I was too. It was wild.
Nick still thinks that it's Lauren, and I wish that Kira said, Lauren says, go ahead. What am I talking about? Oh my God.
Lauren fully saved her, I think.
You think that saved her?
I think it really could have. So that was something too that I have heard before. Like, I remember when I was gone for my season and I was getting like feedback as people were leaving the manor. And one thing about Trevon and how he got so far was that at one point he literally just gave up. He was at the table and he was like, I don't care. Like, this game is driving me crazy. Like, and he just like shut down and he was done. And it was that night he was supposed to get voted out. But when he shut down at the round table, everybody they just believed him. And I wondered last night if that was happening.
I don't think that they believe her any more because of this. I think that Neda just had her ducks in a row.
Yeah.
And I think she had people that were just going to vote a certain way regardless of what happens. And they'll save the Lauren vote for the next round if that's the case,
Right. Yeah.
So I wish that Neda had told Kira that Kira said about the Lori, that Lori was the one that gave her that information. Because like I was worried that Kira had more social capital and was going to get out Neda. So I was like, I was just getting where I'm like, Neda, come on, save yourself. Like tell him that like Kira said that, because Lori was not really buying it. She was kind of being a little bit standoffish with Neda and siding more so with Kira. And so I would have been like, well, Kira said that you were the one that brought my name up in the car, Lori. And I think that would have been an interesting.
I was also so worried. Like I was in awe of her calmness. I really was, but I was also so worried about it because I was like,
Really
Neda, say more. And I mean, you know what? I kind of learned a little bit of a lesson watching that roundtable that like you don't need to be the loudest to be heard, because she was really calm and she like. But a lot of the time she didn't necessarily defend herself. She would just say, "'Cause I'm scared of you," and like so like mild. And I was screaming at the TV a little bit too, being like, I think you're going to go because of this. Like, you're not.
Well, if she though decided to be a little bit more, louder, it just would make everything not make sense, right? So she really had to have the restraint to not just be like, I haven't wanted to say anything. I'm scared of you. I'm scared of how this group kind of all groups comes together, doesn't listen. Voices are never heard. But if she decides to start barking back in the same tone,
and
let's
like
say
getting mad. Yeah.
I think it would have worked completely against her. It's been like, oh, wait, who's this person?
That would have been traitor versus traitor for sure. Like confirmed.
Exactly. Mary says, has Neda redeemed her gameplay from BB Can 5, even if she loses Traitors? 100%. The manual, the booklet, 500-page manual is...
Honestly, if I didn't even watch Traitors and I just had that manual to read through and like, I'd be like, oh, good job. Neda's top. She's top reality player again. Absolutely. And I feel like we should be comfortable now in saying that she's the best Big Brother player to ever play Traitors, because Big Brother players don't have a great history with the game.
Well, because they think that Big Brother players are sneaky. Survivor players are like, oh, they're always whispering in rooms. That's the Big Brother game. And I guess they think that Survivor is a little bit more out in the open with like what's going on. There's a little bit of whispering. There's a lot of, it can happen as well. So Olivia said that Neda had a great rebuttal about the comments on her being a sneaky on Big Brother. Yes, because Kira does say that Neda laid low, and then the second half of the game, she was a little bit more animated, and she's kind of alluding that that's the same game that Neda was playing this time around. And Neda basically was like, it's a completely different game.
Yeah.
Like,
I remember being like, yes, it is.
Very different.
A lot.
So the vote goes, Lauren votes for Kira. Kira votes for Lauren. Trana votes for Kira. Cedric, which I was surprised by, voted for Kira. Kevin voted for Kira. I was like,
Cedric
oh my God.
Really surprised me too.
Is Kira going home? Neda votes for Kira. I'm so sorry. I hope I'm right here. Nick votes for Lauren. Lori votes for Neda. Like Lori.
And Lori was like Neda's girl. Do you remember we said at like the beginning that like Lori is Neda's traitor pet or whatever? Like that's who she was probably going to bring to the fire but Lori knows what's up. Lori's a good faithful.
Definitely. So Barry says, I definitely want to see Neda in a Traitor Global All-Star season. That'd be freaking cool.
We just need that to be a thing for one. Like, let's
imagine all the people that were traitors play the traitors.
Manifest that, because I would like to imagine that for of all the things, that's what I want to imagine the most, because that'll give me the best shot at going back.
Yeah, it would be
selfishly, but yeah, Neda would. I think she'd be a lot of fun, and especially at Global All Stars, because like, I don't know, do we think that everybody going back to play Global, do we really think that they're all going to do their history? Like, think about some of the US players. Like, are they really sitting down and watching other seasons? Like, do you see Phaedra doing that?
Maybe not Phaedra. Well, if she wants to win the money badly enough, she might.
Does she want to win the money, or does she just want to play the game? Like, she doesn't need the money. I want to see it. I want to, yes, Neda for Traitor Global All-Stars, for sure.
So Kira is banished, and as she gets to the front of the round table, she says, once you find one traitor, you'll find another. And I thought it was a pretty awesome exit. She was pretty, like, I would have probably been devastated if I, went out so close to the end, but she was in pretty good spirits, it seems, leaving.
She was, yeah. There were no, I was surprised. So I cried. It caught me completely off guard. I thought she was going to go before Michael John. I was totally at peace with it. And whatever it was, something just bubbled up in me, and I'm watching her get voted out. And when she actually got voted out, I started to cry. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe she got caught. But I think it's because she had such a strong game
and
that I thought she wanted
to be there.
Well.
You knew that she wanted to play.
And she was having so much fun with it too. Like it's hard to see people like that lose because they're enjoying the game and you want them to make it far, right?
So after the round table, Nick thinks that might have been a traitor on traitor crime that had happened.
He's right.
Yeah, he is right here. And I'm wondering if, like, see, this is also where it's a little bit unfair to have the sibling twist here because,
well, now Nick she's pretty well confirmed because he knows now she's a traitor. He knew before. I think he knew after the round table personally. But like,
do you think that maybe he will be like, I know, like, she's my sister. I believe her. Like, she da-da-da-da-da. And like, maybe she'll be like, Neda must be a traitor. And like, maybe him outing that Kira was his sister. They'll be like, oh, so you've been lying to us this entire time. We don't trust you anymore. Maybe that's why you have all this information. Maybe you're the traitor. And so like, maybe that's how Nick gets banished.
And if she trusts you, if she was your sister, like, yeah, maybe she recruited you. Maybe the night that Michael John went out, maybe they were allowed to murder and recruit because you don't know everything and the paranoia sets in. So maybe they could be like, that's what happened. That's why she pushed so hard for Michael John. You're the other traitor. You got to go. That'd be cool. I hope that happens.
I can feel it maybe because that would make it a lot easier for Neda to move forward because right now she has a really steep hill.
She's up against the wall right now.
So Corinne does say that there will be another murder. So we know that, like, well, she says murder and she doesn't say murder or recruit. And then we get to the conclave and there was no mentioning of recruiting tonight at all.
I don't think they're going to because it would have to be a blackmail. And I think that because they're headed into finale, they're like tomorrow's the last roundtable. And they just need to have one traitor for the finale. They don't necessarily need to have one for the fire. So like the faithful need to have the opportunity to still banish a traitor at that table so that when they go to the fire, they're second guessing.
100%.
Right.
100%.
So, yeah.
Before the conclave, though, we do see here that Nick is just shaking with anger. It's like, well, you're playing a game. Like, it sucks that your sister's gone, but she was a traitor, and the point of this game is to get out a traitor.
I've been standing Nick the last couple episodes where I'm like, you are adorable. Like, he loves her so much, and I'm such a Nick fan now.
Olivia says Corinne doesn't say murder. She says, whose blood do you want to spill?
But I guess that would be the same. Like, that's not going to be a blackmail.
It sounds like the murder potential.
Yeah.
Kevin and Lauren are having another conversation. Lauren is still suspicious of Kevin. I'm like, really? Really? Okay.
Well, Kevin is so, I don't know why she's so gung-ho on him. You know what, though? Yeah, I do. When she thought he was a traitor, he would just nod along because he thought she was a traitor. But so he was just like nodding along, being like, yeah, okay, traitor, cool. But like, I'll go along with your plan. And he never denied it. So I think
now he made it definitively, I am a faithful. Like,
yeah.
Good.
I think that's probably what it is that she's still got that in her head. She's like, oh no, this guy's definitely a traitor.
They show again the glare though that Kira gave Neda, and I was like, ooh, it was icy. It was icy.
I do not want to be Kira's enemy. Can you imagine if she didn't like you? She's powerful. Like she's got a big personality and a lot of energy. And like I even remember thinking the same thing when they were in the conclave with Michael John and she was like yelling at him. I remember being like, I don't want to piss off Kira. Like, she is scary. Nana was not wrong with that. And the funny thing was at the round table, they were all like, what are you talking about? She's so like bubbly and sweet. But it's because Nana saw her in the conclave with Michael John. Like she saw that side, right? So
true.
Yeah.
So Neda is in the conclave alone. Then Kira enters. They narrow her, top 3 for murder as to Nick, Trana, and Lori. Neda is not going to celebrate, which is good because she's not going to celebrate until she actually wins, because she's not in a great spot right now at all.
She's in a real, like, at this point, I don't know how she wins. Like, she's so obvious. Like, okay, so she's not going to kill Lori because Lori wrote Neda's name down. It would be this, like, that's obvious. She can't kill Lori.
Unless she's doing it to
the double bluff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, she could, but I don't think she's going to. Then we look at Nick. She could very well murder Nick because he had such a strong relationship. She doesn't know that he's Kira's sibling, but he had such a strong relationship with Kira that like, and he does,
but like, would you want to kill somebody that was her strong ally that they were working together pretty well in the last three rounds?
So this is the thing is like, if she does murder Nick, or Lori, it gets out somebody who's saying her name. And yeah, I know, Clinton, seriously. And then if she does murder Trana, like, so Trana's the one that believes her. So it's like she does Nick or Lori.
I think Trana's the one that's going to be done here because Trana's the faithful.
Yeah.
I mean, but we also want at the end of the game for her to.
You need someone to pick her to believe her at the fire. Like, it's so tricky. If she murders Trana, it gives her the look of like, I would never murder my friend. I'm innocent. Like, I would never murder Trana. She's the only one that believed me. So it could turn her around, but it's a huge risk. Or she murders one of the other two, makes it a little bit more obvious, but then has somebody on her side going to the fire. Either way, she's running uphill. Like,
you know what? Maybe Neda's going to use that information. Like Kira said that you were the one that brought up my name, Lori, and being like, oh, is it because you guys are working together and you guys are plotting like da-da-da-da-da? So maybe she will keep Lori in the game for that reason, to say that like you must have been in cahoots with Kira.
I don't know. I think the only person that she's going to the fire with now that is a confirmed faithful is Nick. I think everybody else has suspicion.
You think that she'll keep Nick for sure?
No. I just mean out of everybody who's left, the only person that's there that nobody thinks is a traitor is Nick. Everybody else has some type of suspicion on them.
So then she'll probably take out Nick then.
It would make sense. Oh, and Trana. It's Nick and Trana are the only two that people don't think are traitors.
Potentially a traitor, yeah. Right? Well, because she said that she wants to keep people in there that are sus. So it's not Trana for sure. And maybe she's going to make that sacrifice, being like, I have to give up Trana here because like this is the only way that I can make everybody else that's in this game look suspicious.
And I gotta tell you, it's such a hard, like, she's a rock in a hard place. Murdering Trana. Yeah, because like, I think it's such a high risk, but Neda would be the one to take that risk.
She would, I think she has to.
And she has it in her to talk her way out of it.
I could definitely see her and Trana at the final 2 and Neda breaking Trana's heart. I could see that as an ending.
Yeah. I was
And then
so hoping for a Cedric recruit and then a Cedric win as a traitor. I thought that would be
it's
so funny.
impossible. Completely impossible, but you can
But like,
dream.
how good?
But then I think that also I could see Trina being like, oh, I'm gonna get murdered. There's no way that it could be Neda. There's no way that Neda would murder me. And then she opens the letter and sees that Neda was a traitor, and then having that moment when she reads the letter. So
Yeah. I think I think she's gonna do Trina because it doesn't really make a lot of sense. But I think that that's probably her only way to convince them that she's not a traitor.
exactly.
Right.
So who's our MVP for this episode? I guess it has to be Neda, right? Like,
Oh
there's
God, yes. Yeah. Like
really nobody else.
there's honestly her and the only reason I want to say Neda wins is because she was the last traitor standing, because Kara did a great job this episode too. Like two of them could have easily tied for the episode, but because
Neda came out on top here.
exactly, I feel like she deserves the MVP. But yeah, this was both of their episode. The girl,
Yeah, they're both fantastic. They're both amazing casting for being traitors. I really wish that we could have seen them maybe one more like after they're both throwing each other under the bus and having to go into the conclave together one last time.
We needed Lauren to get the boot tonight for that. Like we needed that scene for sure.
I really wanted that, but it didn't happen. Unfortunately, we had to lose Kira this episode. Clinton says, if they never learn how to read, then you can never be murdered.
I mean,
can't read the letter.
It's true. I feel like they'd just say it though. They'd be like, you have been murdered. Get out.
Yes, they would have. Well, that is it for this episode. Is there anything else you want to say about Tensions Rising, episode 9?
I don't know. I think I need to go, and I'm probably just going to watch this every day now until Monday, until we see the finale.
No, you should watch their TikTok and see all the. I guess she wouldn't be opening up a letter.
All the reactions. Yes, I love those
all
reactions. Those. Yeah, they're good. I'm gonna go watch our interviews.
Okay, I'll post them right now. I wanted to wait until we went because I'm always like I didn't want to post them too early because I don't want people to be like, you spoiled me on like what happened. True. So I kind of want to wait 24 hours. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just to like,
yeah. It was go ahead. Overall best episode of the season. One of the best seasons. I'm loving how bad the faithful are. I'm loving how good the traitors were. I'm loving that it could be imagine after all season, the faithful win. This episode, this season is amazing.
So good, so good. Yes. Oh, it was a great discussion. I love everybody here in the chat talking about this episode, this season. It's been a really, really good time. I can't believe we have one more of this to talk through, which is sad, but it'll be a great episode to speak about. Now, if anybody has any questions that you have for any of the final 7, just let it message us on either Instagram, so at Chantele Francis or at Reality Realnesss on Instagram, or what's your best on the rock best on the rock on Instagram for Mel here, just so because we'll be interviewing every single person that we haven't interviewed yet. So Michael John is coming. We haven't interviewed him yet, as well as Pac-Man. So if you have questions for either of them, please let us know and just get all of your questions in. Let me go start like a thread that we can just start, or just put them in the comments.
Put them in the comments. Also put in the comments. So Emily was wondering if we're going to recap the US one in January, and we have talked about it. So
wait, did you say yes? I'm like,
yes. I did say yes.
Okay.
But we just got to work on our scheduling. I may have to move from Tuesday, so we're going to see.
It might be. Well, it depends on which day that it comes on, right?
Yeah,
I think it comes on Thursdays.
For sure.
If it comes on Thursdays, I would love to go live right after. So I would stream it for you, and then we can go live right after. That would be awesome. But it might be a little bit late for you because I think
it would depend on the time. Yeah. If it's past 11 p.m. here, it's probably not going to happen. But
it comes on, I believe, at 9 Eastern, which would be 10:30. So like you'd be like an hour after that
to start recording.
No, we'd start right after. So yeah, I guess I'd be kind of late.
It'd still be late. Yeah. Normally I wouldn't mind. I keep telling my husband he needs to quit his job for my extracurricular activities to prosper, but he hasn't done it yet. So but yeah, there's 2 seasons. There's UK and US at the same time. They did that last year too.
I will definitely, depending on what I have going on, like you don't have to commit to both, but I might do UK, just like watch and like stop and start review. Like I've done some of those other ones like that.
Yeah.
We're
gonna be busy.
But yeah, if you want to do both, I'm definitely down with you doing both. We'll see what time has, because like I've loved talking about the show, and like having someone that's passionate about it, that has her own experience, has been really fun and amazing. So thank you for,
it's been good. It's been good. I will say too, guys, throw in the comments if you would like us to discuss cereals again, if you want to talk about different foods we like, different shows we like. Yeah. Tony versus...
I'm like, do you speak any French? Like, should we do like an off-season?
So I haven't seen the last one yet because I can't find it with English subtitles. My daughter's in French immersion in kindergarten, and she has been teaching me a little. I learned the vowels. The last few weeks. E, I, O, U, E.
Okay, c'est pas mal.
I'm so sorry for butchering it, guys. I'm learning, but I'm learning from my 5-year-old. So, like, no, I guess not great with French. But
well, because I was thinking, like, maybe as an off season, we go through either Quebec or Francis. You know what I mean? Or maybe there's another one, English speaking.
I need invite me to comment the French one. There you go. I need just to know what's happening.
I was thinking if like my friend would maybe help me do, like, if there's French subtitles, I can maybe write out English subtitles and like do that for you. We'll see though. It's just so hard.
That's a lot of work.
It's just a lot of work. So
yeah.
We'll see. We'll make something happen. Yeah, Quebecois French is definitely different. I learned that the hard way living in Montreal. I was like, oh, I'm bilingual. And I'm like, no, you're not.
Almost bilingual.
I mean, I'm okay now, but then
I'm barely lingual.
So. Well, thank you everybody for being here, supporting us here as we talk about this penultimate episode of the Traitors Canada season 2. It's been a blast. We got one more to go, and also I might be going to the party, so maybe I'll have some other things to chit chat about that, anyways, we'll see if that happens, if I'm able to go, which will be fun to get some extra tea that they're allowed to spill. We'll say.
Whenever we can find it. Whatever we can find out, just dish it.
Okay, it's been a slice, everybody. Thank you.
Good night, everybody.